I hope everybody enjoyed dinner. I think it was really terrific, and I hope you enjoyed conversation. And I'm sorry to stop that, but we'd like to present the balance of our awards tonight. Our next presenter is David Van Zandt, who is the president of the New School. But before I introduce David as the presenter of the O&B Butler Award, I want to recognize Lisa Klein, who is executive director of the Alliance for Early Success. The Alliance is a long-standing supporter of CED's work on early childhood education, and they bring together national and state founders. So Lisa, thank you for all of your support. David Van Zandt has been president of the New School since 2011. The New School is a university with renowned programs in design, social research, liberal arts, performance, and professional studies. David's, many career moves have included international banking and finance at Davis Polk, and just too many things to mention. So, David, thank you and welcome.
I got up here all right. So. Well, thank you very much, Steve. It really is my great honor and personal pleasure tonight to introduce a great supporter of education and a really good friend, J.B. Pritzker. We're giving him the O&B Butler Education Excellence Award. It was established in 2013 in honor of Brad Butler, former chairman and CEO of Procter & Gamble and former chairman of this fine organization. The award recognizes an individual's exceptional commitment to quality education, skills development, and workforce development programs. The opportunity to present an award that recognizes leadership in education has special relevance for me as the president of the New School, a design-inspired university here in New York City. I know how essential investment in education is for preparing students to succeed. Our economic and political future depends on a well-educated workforce. This is only more important as the creative economy demands higher level skills from our workforce. Our country, which in the past has been a leader in primary and secondary education, sadly has fallen behind because we have neglected early childhood education. At the New School, we see the best of the young creative talent the world has to offer. But unfortunately, for our nation, that talent and creativity is more and more coming from abroad. While we universities do what we can, it is a little late in the educational process to make up for lost time. That is why JB's philanthropy is so important. JB is committed to laying the educational foundation in the earliest years of a child's life. He recognizes that a strong society is built from the ground up. His work is key because it is focused on early childhood education, the most important period for educational growth. JB's dedication to advancing early childhood education, an issue that the CED has been advancing for over 40 years, is truly remarkable. Through the Pritzker Family Foundation, his wife MK and he have become two of the nation's great supporters of early childhood education. One of the foundation's commitments, the Pritzker Children's Initiative, is a national program that puts disadvantaged infants and toddlers on a pathway to success by generously supporting high-quality early learning interventions and parental support through organizations such as the Ounce of Prevention Fund, Educare Schools, and the First 5 Years Fund. To ensure that early education initiatives are guided by the finest research, JB helped establish in 2006 the Pritzker Consortium of Early Childhood Development. In addition to his philanthropic work, his investment firm, the Pritzker Group, has funded the creation and growth of numerous companies. JB has helped to develop Chicago into a world-renowned technological center. He was appointed founding chairman of Chicago Next, the Mayor's Council on Technology and Innovation, and he also created 1871, a digital startup center. And now for a personal note. I first came to know JB during our time together at Northwestern University, where I was the dean of the law school. JB was a great supporter and always there for me, first as a member of our law board, and later as a member of the Northwestern Board of Trustees. Now, this was not always preordained to occur. In one of my first meetings with him as the dean, JB announced to me that he and 2 other friends had pledged not to give any money to the law school until I got rid of a certain professor, whose name will not be mentioned. They believed that this professor knew nothing about economics. Well, because of some very picky legal technicalities, university tenure, I was not able to do that. But while at the time I could not say it, now I will. JB, you were right. Fortunately for me, JB quickly relented on his pledge. He has supported both the law school and Northwestern University generously, where he has been passionate about social justice and education. I cannot thank you enough, JB, for asking me to introduce you tonight. I'm certainly not the least bit surprised that you have earned this education award from the CED. I'm very pleased to introduce to all of you, JB Pritzker.
I'm very pleased to have had the opportunity to bring you up to talk a little bit about the new school. Unfortunately, David knows, because he had access to my transcripts, that Northwestern Law School is near and dear to my heart because they let me graduate. What's especially surprising to me tonight is to be on stage, to share a stage anyway, with the likes of Pete Peterson and Patricia Wirtz and Mike Duke and the great Henry Kravis. In fact, and I'm from Chicago, I feel a little like Forrest Gump, finding myself standing here. I'm very proud of being from Illinois. I mean, 2 of our last 6 governors have not gone to prison. Thank you. And our last city council FBI investigation was at least 3 years ago, so things are really looking up. What's especially gratifying, though, is the idea that CED would pay attention, as it does, to early childhood education. I've been a very proud supporter of the Alliance for Early Success, which is supported by CED. And, of course, I came to know CED. CED, in fact, in some ways led me to one of the most important investments that I've made in early childhood education, and that was the introduction to a great Nobel laureate at University of Chicago, Jim Heckman, who has done some of the primary and best research in human capital development that led him to conclude that the best investment that we can make in the life of an individual, if you really want to help develop a great workforce, is in early childhood, and not just in 5-year-olds and 4-year-olds, but in 0 to 3. And the earlier you go, the better the investment is, the more return we get from that investment. And the reason I was attracted to that is, as a business person, the arguments that have been made historically in early childhood have been arguments about, they're just plain old, this is great for the kids. We should do this for the little children. And it's true, we should, but it's not a great argument. The best argument is that early childhood investing is about global competitiveness for the United States. It's about fiscal responsibility for our states and our country, because the problems that we're all trying to remediate in K-12 education really are all about brain development that occurs 0 to 5. When 90% of brain development for human beings occurs before you ever show up at kindergarten, and if we leave the 23% of children in this country in poverty without any access to early childhood education, then we're going to be held back. The entire country is held back. So when I think about early childhood education, I think about it as an economic issue. It is, in fact, why CED got into this subject matter, because it recognized earlier than most that this is what's going to make us an even greater country, that we're going to solve those problems in K-12 by going earlier and earlier. that if you want to save the money from incarceration, you bet on kids really early. If you want to save money from, third grade reading scores being dropping and being as low as they are, you're going to invest in early childhood education. In fact, you may know that the best predictor, they say, of incarceration rates in the United States is third grade reading scores, future incarceration rates. And you know what the best predictor of third grade reading scores is? Early childhood education. So I implore all of you to get involved in the subject matter, because truly when I think about all the things you can choose to do in philanthropy, all the ways in which we can think about how we want to save the world or repair the world, there's no better investment from my perspective than going early. And as we say in Chicago, early and often. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thanks to the CED.
Terrific.